GM, welcome to Altcoin Analysis. Today, I'm going to give you guys the distribution levels, the accumulation levels, the high time frame pivot levels, so that you guys know how to make money on your altcoins. It's going to be no nonsense, giving you guys the real deal here. Not looking for those XRP YouTube clicks like most people. We're going to avoid being this guy over here who longs altcoins because they hear a headline or constantly just wants to hear about targets because they're looking at their portfolio. Nope, scrap that. Today we're looking at what smart money are actually doing on your coins, because that's going to tell you how you can actually make some profits, and that's what this channel is all about. So without further ado, let's look at the total 2 chart. So this is the altcoin index. We can see the 2018 high, briefly support, lost it, but this is where we started accumulating. Price went sideways with low volatility. That is indicative of smart money buying because retail get too bored. They've been flushed out. Price is going sideways. It's not exciting for them. So smart money buy up the supply of altcoins here. That's what happened at the beginning of this cycle. You then mark up, get above that 2018 high. That pivot level, very key. As soon as you closed above there and got above this accumulation zone, boom, easy mode. Where did we dip back down to? Well, the wick went exactly to the accumulation zone in August 2024. That's where smart money start buying again. They don't need to sell when it goes back to this zone because that's where they accumulated. It would be break even, there's no profit. So that's where they stop selling, and price therefore bottoms out. You then get another easy mode during the Trump rally. Price then flushes back, taking retail out of the game again. But you can see these wicks on the monthly charts. This is a very high time frame chart. Mark your accumulation zones. This is where smart money then start reaccumulating, buying again for the next push up. And it's really this March 2024 high that's been the key level on all your altcoins. Pushed above it, failed the breakout, came back below, pushed above it again. So now it's going to be very key. Can we hold this level? Or do we have yet another fake out above? Because this is the breakout level. This is what bulls need to defend on lower time frames, because we've come up into this distribution zone. So monthly candle here from 2021, taking the wick, where smart money filled their sells, even briefly on this wick in May. Where did price come to? Right back to where smart money sold. So what happens? It gets used as resistance again. To flip this level bullish, you need to see closes in this zone. Then we're looking at a breakout on the altcoin index. But until then, smart money are selling in this zone again. We can see this is their area of distribution. Everyone on YouTube will tell you about all the headlines. Oh my God, this altcoin's so bullish. Trying to trick you guys with the nonsense. My channel, we don't do that. Drop a subscribe, drop a like, hit that bell on if you appreciate content from a real trader, because we were selling the tops. We don't need to look at news, look at headlines. It doesn't help us, because we need to look at what smart money is doing. And it was the same zone that they sold at on the altcoins. So now the level to defend is the March 2024 high. Go to the weekly. You can track your altcoins against these respective levels. Is your altcoin above here, March 2024 high? We need to remain above here for any hopes of continuation higher. And the more we can then start closing in this zone, the more likely you're going for a breakout. Now, is that likely? I'm not sure. I think we need to see signs of reaccumulation after this flush, but as long as we can consolidate above this March 2024 high, bias would be for another end of year rally. If we start losing it and filling in that wick, then you're looking at more extended downside. So that's what we're really looking at. The next 30 days are going to be very indicative of whether we're going to see an end of year rally on altcoins or not. I think we consolidate around here, build value within October rather than heading into November, losing the October levels and trading below the October prices. That would indicate weakness. Likely we have to actually fail this breakout again, like we did over here, and start filling in the gaps. But if we stay above it, then we're building value at this October zone, which can set up a base for an end of year rally, which could catch people off guard. So that's the wider altcoin analysis. Now, starting with Ethereum, same thing we're going to do on every coin. Let's look at what smart money are doing. So you got this distribution zone on the monthly. We can see this big wick in August. That's where sellers have come in again and again. And in 2021, this is also where they came in. So no surprise to see smart money sold over here. You want to flip ETH bullish? Again, you've got to start seeing closes in this zone. And then you've got to break out and get above this zone. You've got that 2021 high over there, which is going to be super important. So for bulls to gain momentum and invalidate the distribution, got to start closing in there. Some monthly candles, get above there and flip that level. We also had this distribution in 2024. And now we are back testing it. We did manage to break above it. So it's yet to be seen, can we flip this into some sort of accumulation? Below there, we've got the yearly open pivot level, which we wicked to. And also, of course, we've got that beautiful 2018 all-time high pivot level. Look how beautiful these work. Technical analysis is all you need, guys. You don't need to know about all of this random crap that gets shilled on Twitter for views. No, stay with my channel. You guys will do well. Wick came right to the 2018 high. Pivot levels are pivoting. Let's zoom into the weekly. Is this zone going to flip into accumulation? If so, we change that to green. If we can get a bounce up and start closing to new highs and within this distribution zone. But for now, it's a question mark. It's orange because it was previous distribution. Sellers sold every time we got into there on ETH. We got above it. So now can those sellers get overwhelmed and actually be flipped into buyers here? That's the real question we've got. Can this become accumulation? And that would be like your green path that I mentioned on the index. It would be building value and now heading into an end of year rally, which we can see on ETH. It's on the cards. You've still got liquidity over here, which is built up. A lot of people will get very bearish very quickly. So I'm very open to all scenarios. Now, of course, lose this zone and that confirms it as distribution, where you're then looking at the yearly open, lose the yearly open. That's very bearish, and from there you really don't want to be looking at ETH. You don't want to be DCAing in ETH because it didn't make a new high this cycle. Therefore, it's got a big question mark over it. And you'd be much better off investing in assets that do make new highs every bull market, because that's what a bull market's meant to be, right? So lose this accumulation zone, distribution zone, question mark. We don't know what it's going to be yet. Then you're looking at yearly open where we held before pretty nicely on the test. If we can hold it again, good. Builds a base maybe for later on in 2026, who knows? Or lose the yearly open, then you're looking at filling in this gap over here. And there's not much accumulation going on previously because it was such an up-only rally. I'd expect a quick unwind below that yearly open. So this is the level to hold. This is where you want to see bulls start to build a base so we can flip it into accumulation. Of course, closing below this zone, then you're looking at this is confirming as distribution again. So that's what I'm looking at on ETH high time frame. Moving on to XRP, a fan favorite, of course, this is. Well, XRP, 2018 high over here. That's been the resistance where sellers have sold. Smart money exiting right in a familiar zone. It's no surprise, guys. Everyone's talking about Ripple, the next big thing. Who cares? We're here to make money. Sell where smart money is selling. And this distribution zone was showed to us in January, further confirmed here. And then July, distribution. August, distribution. September, wicked into it, distribution. Even this month, wicked into it. We cannot get a close in this zone. Now, if we do start closing in this zone, get above that 2018 all-time high, you're looking at XRP marking up higher. But at the moment, we're rejecting it, and we've headed down to our accumulation zone. Now, the 2021 all-time high is a key pivot level. We had a previous distribution here, so looking at that monthly wick, this is where sellers came in. But when we broke through it, we flipped it into accumulation. Look at all these wicks. That's demand. That's demand. That's all demand. And when we zoom in, it becomes easier for you guys to see. That previous distribution flipped into accumulation on XRP, offered amazing buys, amazing trades, especially with that 2021 high pivot level. And it then has ping pong between this distribution and accumulation. So you're really looking to see which side breaks first. Break below this accumulation, you're looking at filling in all of this gap on XRP, and it's likely over. You're likely heading back to this lengthy bear market accumulation, which is over here, but that's very far away, so we won't look at that now. You're not going to be interested in XRP. That will take time to play out. That's why I didn't mark this out. But of course, this is another accumulation zone over here. So lose this accumulation zone and you're looking like marking down. But if you can continue holding it, holding that 2021 all-time high, especially, maybe we do go into an end of year rally, even if it's just up to the distribution zone over here. And then you go back to your monthly. Can we close in there? That's the question you've got to ask. If you're not seeing closes in there, then you're probably going to distribute again. All of those XRP founders that hold a bunch of the supply, they're just going to continue dumping as they always have done. But if they actually allow it to mark up, then you'll see the 2018 all-time high reclaimed, and off we go to new highs, and this can all be reaccumulation. So that's what you're looking at on XRP. You're either looking at accumulation zone being lost, and then we mark down. It's the end of the run for XRP. Accumulation zone holding, as it has done previously. And then if it marks up, does the distribution zone get met with sellers again, or can we close monthly candles within it? Can we get above the 2018 high and start gearing up for a markup? So that's the clear view on XRP. Those are your zones. Those are your smart money levels. So distribution was very clear over here. Go to the monthly chart. Look at this wick. This is where sellers came in 2021. And where do they show up again? March 2024, they showed up. November, December, January, February, they showed up over and over, and even September and this month, they showed up again in this zone. Tried to have some closes in that zone, tried to build some strength, but it has all rejected. Smart money have sold again in the distribution zone, and they've used it as exit liquidity. They used the Trump meme coin pump as exit liquidity. All the headlines to get retail bullish, whereas the smart money, they're looking at the charts, they're looking at price, because they know price is king and price is how you make money. So that's where they've sold, and that's where they keep selling. We keep seeing that. So what are the pivot levels in between? Well, we've got the yearly open, which is going to be very key for Solana. I think we need to stay above that level for bulls to have control. Below this level, if we start closing below it, then you're looking at some extended downside potentially on Sol. And maybe it even needs to head back to this accumulation zone again and continue building within this range. If we can get above this yearly open and stay above it, currently trading below it now, then potentially you're looking for price to build further and further. And the more closes we can get in this distribution zone, the more likely we are to actually start marking up and flipping it into accumulation. But so far, sellers have showed up there. You expect price to reverse until you start building structure and trending through the distribution and ideally getting above it, above that 260 level, which we haven't seen since 2024 and briefly in January 2025. So yearly opens the bull bear pivot line at the moment. Below, you're looking at lower on Sol, and you've got this accumulation zone here between 95 and 125, which has held. Look at this demand. Comes in every time. Demand, and all of these wicks. Smart money are happy to accumulate there to mark up higher. So that's the area we know they should buy. That's where they're happy to accumulate. So that can look like something like the red path if we lose the yearly open. But of course, get above the yearly open, then we're looking at bulls being in control again, and potentially we're just building bullish structure on Solana. So that's the simple view. Yes, this is a low zone from current price, but it's the last area where they really did accumulate. Now, of course, can you go to something like the daily to find some lower time frame accumulations? Yes, you can. If you take a look at this chart over here, we can see there's generally a nice level here where you set a trap and then got this low volatility accumulation going on time and time again. held, respected. This can be a zone over here between 144 and 166 roughly, which can potentially hold as support, but that's your lower time frame accumulations and potentially less reliable than your higher time frame ones. So something also to mention about Solana. There are some interim zones in between if we can hold them for those lower time frame accumulations. So moving on to TAO, monthly wicks over here. They have been met with sellers again and again. That's where smart money is distributing, and where smart money are accumulating is this monthly wick. Buying. All of these wicks show demand, and even this month we wicked into it, produced a nice rally. We zoom into the weekly, we've got the yearly open pivot level, which is super key. So yes, smart money are happy to buy in this accumulation zone, but they need to flip the yearly open for bulls to get in control and actually make your way into the distribution zone. Make your way up there, then you're looking to smart money sell down again, or can we actually start to trend through the distribution and flip it into support, flip it into accumulation? That's what you're looking at, but you have to get above the yearly open to even think about that, and currently we are rejecting it. So yearly open is the key level to flip. Below it, looking at potentially moving back to the accumulation zone. Above it, you're looking at a move to the distribution zone. So this is what smart money are doing on TAO. That's between 162 and 271 accumulation, and distributions between 618 and 756. It's been a nice tradable range on TAO, but yearly open has to be flipped. That's the midpoint of the range to take you to the distribution and range highs. So that's the situation on TAO. Now, of course, break the accumulation, and that would be very bearish. You guys know the score. Start closing below there, and you're looking at filling in these gaps and it being over for TAO. And of course, by the same nature, get above the distribution, you're looking at a markup higher, potentially to 1,000 or 900. Who knows? Unlikely, but those are your levels to flip and play it level by level. Simple as that. Hype. So we had a big distribution here. Look at all of these monthly wicks. Sellers coming in every single time. Bulls are getting overpowered. And it's very simple on Hype. It's a new coin. It had the narrative. It had that lovely run with the James Wynn trader. Lots of force and attention behind it. But because it's a new coin, it hasn't had much time for accumulation. There's just not been enough time for smart money to fill their bags on this coin. So you don't actually have a clear accumulation zone anywhere on this chart. Look, there's no deep wicks, which we can see there was clear smart money buying. So you zoom into something like the weekly even, you can't really see any clear accumulation because this got broken through. This isn't accumulation. It was just a ripping rally with a strong narrative. So you've got really just a pivot level here. You've got this range low at 34. Start closing below there, then you're looking at filling in this gap on Hype, all this inefficient price action. Hold it, then maybe we can start building value. Maybe we can actually turn this into one big reaccumulation on Hype for a base that goes much, much higher. But of course, you've got to start trading this distribution, start closing some monthly candles in that distribution zone to show some acceptance, and that will look like trending through it on the weekly because your low time frames lead into your higher time frames, and that can lead to a potential markup higher. But below the range low, looking like we need to fill in this gap, and then you just need to see where does it set a base. On any of your coins that are going to take the red bearish path, you just need to see that sideways accumulation action to the point where monthly chart will look like wicks coming down into here. You mark that out, you can see there's clear demand here, and that's where you then can look for your new buys setting up for your long-term trades. But there's no signs of that yet, so we don't know where that's going to be. That can be from much lower. That could even be from higher. We're not sure, so you've got to let the charts play out if it does lose the range low. Very simple and Hype. Now, when it comes to say, what did we see? Well, monthly candles, distribution, March 2024. Notice how we've got nowhere near that high. Whereas what did I tell you? You've got to look for coins above their 2024 March high. They're the strong coins. That's not a strong coin. It's never even been able to retest its distribution. And it had a chance for a beautiful setup here with this trend line, but it failed the breakout. That was the sign. So it also had a brief accumulation here. which got disrespected really, and that is the key zone to remain above. And while we were above it, Say had a good setup over here. You bottomed out with a failure to return pattern, got above this accumulation zone, and we started basing out under this trend line. Now, in a bullish market, if things were much better in crypto and there was more likely to be this Q4 alt season, Say would have done this. That would have happened in 2021 if it was the right time, right scenario. It just happened to be it wasn't the right time. So you see a nice setup like this where you see low volatility fail. Smart money's not always right. Sometimes the accumulation actually can turn into distribution, especially when you have a huge event like we had. And well, this accumulation zone is now key. Between 0.2 and 0.28, closing below there, I'd say is probably done. It's going to go into some bleed and continue this lower high after lower high. Hold that zone and you can potentially look at, another trend line breakout and it just being maybe overextended, but I do think that's unlikely given the weakness we've seen on this coin. So that's a chart where you look at the smart money and you see the signs of weakness. It's not just about looking at the signs of strength. You can also see, okay, didn't get back to our distribution zone. That's a sign that buyers couldn't even put it back up to an area where sellers are happy to show up, meaning sellers are coming in at lower levels, meaning there's more supply and there's not enough demand. Therefore, that leads to weakness. And that's what we saw here. Accumulation zone could not hold on the retest. So for coins like this, where yes, it could have had the green path if this was 2021, if we did have the conditions, I want to share something with you because everyone wanted an alt season this cycle and everyone wanted it to be exactly like 2021. But the problem is the alt season was in the stock market, guys. This is a quantum stock, so it's got all the quantum hype, it's got the quantum narrative, and the blockchain narrative was really in 2021. Traders have moved on to new narratives like this, and maybe there is a blockchain narrative in the next couple years, who knows, but got to look at reality, guys. Look at charts like this. This looks like an alt season, right? 2025 has been pretty much up only and now going into that parabolic phase. Quantum computing, it's got loads of hype. That's the alt season. Look at this coin. This is got the AI narrative. It's a manufacturer of semiconductor chips. So again, look at that 2022. Not even a bear market. This was your telltale sign on this stock over here. The fact that it literally avoided a bear market and it was just a correction within uptrend since God knows 2012 pretty much. That was the key signal. And then look at this, just goes parabolic. This is an alt season. This is just unfortunately in AI stocks, it's in quantum computing, and it's also in your metals. We know gold's been going absolutely parabolic. Again, what does this look like? It looks like the 2021 alt season. Silver, much the same. What does this look like? It's parabolic price action. The narrative, the flow, the hype, it's all been in TradFi, it's been in AI, it's been in quantum, it's been in commodities, those metals. It's not been in blockchain. And perhaps blockchain is just missing a cycle. Perhaps the fact that everyone expected things to be just up only easy mode like 2021 is the very reason it didn't happen. Because if everyone's positioned for it, who's going to buy your bags? Who's going to push your bags higher if you're all positioned for it? That's why the consensus trade is never the one to look for. And the big money is made in the non-consensus trade. So a little bit of alpha there because you've got coins like FTM. This is not a coin you buy or invest in. It's just going down only. It's in a bear market while Bitcoin's in a bull market. You've got coins like this, which you've just launched, and it's just horrible price action. This isn't bullish. Guys, bullish chart. Bearish chart. So I know you requested a few more coins from me, but just wanted to give you guys a quick lesson there on where the narratives are, where the hype is, and the reality you guys need to hear. Again, the hype can come back in future years if everyone gives up on blockchain. everyone will check out. That's when smart money come in. So got to stay focused. You got to keep up with crypto. Stay tuned into my channel, subscribe, drop that bell on. I'll be looking for smart money plays everywhere. But you've also got to accept reality, and I'm going to give you guys that. I'm not going to give you guys the engagement clicks, the XRP clicks. I'm not looking for that crap. I'm a real trader. So if you appreciated this content today, you found value in it, help me out, drop a comment, drop a like, boost that algo. I'll see you tomorrow in the weekly outlook. That's going to be a banger where I go through my high time frame plan for the rest of this cycle and next, looking at long-term buys to set me up for those generational opportunities. GM.